our ecosystem, it threatens our livelihoods and our dignity. So today, in commemoration of World Environment Day, which is celebrated every year on June 5th, we are discussing, or the theme for this year is ending plastic pollution. So how do we beat plastic pollution? Breaking the chains of plastic is something that we are supposed to take on, like personally. We know the differences between the wrappings and the different plastics that are allowed and the ones that are not allowed. And if we do not, we are going to be learning all of that today, and we are going to be discussing local solutions on how we can go about saving our ecosystems and assuring a plastic-free environment. So with me today, we have voices in policy, civil society, environmental advocacy to discuss lasting solutions both locally and globally. For presentations, I am Fatefa Albimanka, and joining us today is Mrs. Asabalinda Siri from the Regional Delegation of Environment with deep insights into grassroots awareness and government engagement. We also have Barrister Achu Owen, a seasoned advocate for environmental and human rights law with FEDEF, highlighting the legal tools to protect both people and the planet. And from Caritas, we have the very vibrant Mrs. Motia Felicia, the Assistant Program Analyst championing eco-conscious development in vulnerable communities. Thank you so much for coming, and you're all welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Alvin.
Thank you, Mr. Barrister. Thank you, Mrs. Linda, and thank you, Madam Feli.
Thank you today.
So, like we usually do, we are going to take on a few updates, Caritas updates. It's very important that we keep ourselves informed on what the charitable arm of the diocese is doing in the FACO. So we are going to take a look at what the Caritas communication team has prepared for us, and then we are going to dive into the topic of the day.
Let's make it
greener.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
In commemoration of the World Environment Day, with the team End Plastic, Caritas is very conscious about this day, and we are about to do tree planting. This is to boost action that let's make it greener. When? Now. Here with me is the director of Caritas, Mr. Pierre Ernest Chinda. He's about to do the symbolic planting of some environmental and medicinal trees around the office space. Now is the time to take action. Let's listen to him before he plants this tree and tell us about the advantage of this tree that he's having with him to our human self in terms of health and to the environment. Let's make it
Greener.
Let's make it
Greener.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
We are about to begin a very big campaign on planting trees, and for this campaign we are targeting 3,000 trees. The plantation of these 3,000 trees will take place in the whole diocese of Boya. So we are targeting 630 farmers, in which each of them are going to plant 5 trees, and also we are targeting 25 schools. In each of the schools, we are going to have 5 symbolic trees. This is really to make action to save and protect our environment. And the trees that we are about to plant are multi-purpose trees. So all our farmers, all our students in the school are free to choose either forestry or fruit trees. And here in Caritas of the Diocese of Boya, in our premises, we are about to plant a multi-purpose tree. It serves as fruit, and also it has a very big medicinal role because it also fights against cancer. It has this property to fight against cancer. And this tree is soursol. It is also called Annona moricata. So I am, by this action, engaging all the Caritas staff to make sure that all our farmers, all the children that we have been working with in school, take action by planting trees. If we destroy one, we must plant 10.
Plant one tree.
Plant 10 trees.
And today I am going to be encouraging youth to plant trees. We did not inherit nature, and we are just borrowing it right now from the future. So if we just keep destroying and we do not plant, we are not going to leave anything for the generation to come, and at a certain point in time we ourselves are going to have a shortage. So let's continue to advocate for nature. Let's continue to protect our nature, because protecting nature means protecting the future.
Nature is not a luxury but a necessity. Sustainability starts with you.
Nature is green. Let's make it happen. Alors, pour un avenir meilleur, réduisons l'exposition des déchets pour un espace pur.
Don't talk about peace if you cannot protect the nature. Say avuga kan ju sirasna lam sirasna lasna ta onon say ni ka fuju na lam kasna ju ayong na kie.
Plant a tree for tomorrow. Onwe pieche for ayangse.
Earth has enough for everyone's need and not enough for everyone's greed.
My people, this is our planet, our nation, and our responsibility.
Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Let us take action now.
We are one earth, one future.
Un plastique évité, un geste de dignité envers la création.
Merci l'année. Weka tatuyeni abji chenjo amfesi beng migwe yunga min fuwe yunga si yomindunda so weka si jiche weka si teacher ringne weka timosi amibji ambon chop samba berwe.
God created us with a similarity with our environment. All what is in man is in your environment. So with trees, we can have good health and good medicinal plants from planting trees. Thank you.
United for the planet, united for the future.
JT Murphy is legam cut one tree and plant 10 trees.
The toilet I thought I'm going to get away.
The Mother Earth is bleeding. Please, let's plant tree now. There is no planet B. Wana na warana na munyana, mommy, papa, pikin. May all will join, will plant tree now. So
the earth is our home. Let's protect it.
Agroecology, food for life. Let's plant trees for fruits.
Madame, monsieur, mademoiselle, sommes-nous conscients des déchets causés par la mauvaise utilisation des plastiques? Ensemble, protégeons notre environnement en mettant et en faisant le geste qui sauve, en évitant les inondations causées par les plastiques.
Chaque petite action compte et chaque changement commence par de petites actions.
Some staff of Caritas of the Diocese of Boya joined the Southwest Regional Delegation of the Ministry of Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development for the eco work to sensitize the community and also to do some cleanup campaign from Moliko checkpoint right up to My 17 Motor Park Boya. This is to create awareness of the need for us to protect our environment. With the delegate of environment partaking for the eco walk, let's take a listen to Sir Ekwadi, the regional delegate of environment, Southwest Region.
The Southwest Regional Delegate in charge of environment, and today we are celebrating the World Environment Day as usual. And the main objective of World Environment Day is to sensitize population as far as environmental issues are concerned, especially to let people understand that the government cannot protect the environment without people. So to involve community and to involve people in environmental protections. And especially this year, we are focused about plastic pollutions. You know, plastic are very important, but you have to manage it in a sustainable way.
Today, we were working on World Environment Day with our team today to end plastic pollution, and Caritas of the Diocese of Boya joined other organizations here at FACO, that is in Southwest Region of Cameroon, to have a walk, that is an eco walk from checkpoint right down to My 17, which is a car park. And at the level of the car park, we were involved in sensitizing those who walk at the park, where you would mostly find car agencies without even a trash can. You find most small business holders without even a trash can. They litter plastics all around the place. So today we came in and we gave them a talk on the importance of handling plastic in a better way, that by starting with at least having a trash can, so that they can gather the dirt and dispose of it in a way that is environmentally friendly. And after that, we are here at the Teachers Training College at Mile 17. We are having one last activity, which is to plant some trees around. And the reason why we are choosing this place is because this is a teacher training college. They are going to go to train our children, that is at the primary school levels specifically. And when they do this, they are going to impact this same ideology in the children, and they will grow up to honor this big day of the environment. So the more we do away with plastic, the better we have our world.
Let's make it greener. When? Now. Let's make it greener. When? Now. When? Now. When? Now. When? Now. When? Now. Get one tree. Plant a tree. Get one tree. Plant a tree. Let's make it now. Let's make it now. Let's make it now. Let's make it greener. When? Now. When? Now. Woo! 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 Tree! Woo!
We want to protect it. The few people who stand for what is right, no matter how few in numbers they are, does not change the fact that what they are doing is right. So let's join the winning team in championing for what is right, championing in raising eco-conscious people who will love the environment as they love themselves. I don't even think that we love ourselves enough, because if we did love ourselves enough, we would definitely know that our environment has to be pampered and catered for, just like we take care of ourselves, because it's our greed that is making the environment to be what it is, the pollution and everything. And we are very people complaining that everywhere is littered with plastics and all sorts of garbage. So if we take the initiative now, everything is going to change for the better, I promise you all. So if you're just tuning in, we are onto the program Caritas Connect on DMR TV, and we have with us our very vibrant panelists. And today, like I earlier mentioned, we are going to be discussing breaking the plastic chain, how to do away with plastics, the local and global solutions that our various panelists have to discuss with them. So let's dig in. And to start, we are going to try to understand what exactly plastic pollution is. And we are going to have a barrister tell us how we should understand plastic pollution and why it has become such a global and local concern in the world.
Thank you very much, Alvin, for having me once again. When we talk of plastic pollution, we are talking about the production, the transportation, the use, and the disposal of plastic into the environment that becomes harmful to the environment and to both humans. That is what plastic pollution is all about. Once you buy a bottle, let's say for example you buy a bottle of Supermom, you consume the content, which is the water. Once you are done with that plastic has reached its end of life stage. The moment you throw it into the environment, it becomes a problem, not only for the environment, but also for the inhabitants of the environment.
Okay, barrister.
Right. Okay, yes, we already spoke about it. So that's what plastic pollution is all about. When plastic waste is accumulated in the environment, that can further cause a lot of harm to man, to other life forms. Of course, that's why we are talking about it, because plastic is also made up of chemicals. It's made up of particular chemicals that when they break down and when we ingest them, in the long run we become sick. It has an effect on our health. It has an effect on the beauty of the environment or the environment in general. It has an effect, so it has different effects in different areas in the various ecosystems where you can find other life forms. So plastic pollution is actually a huge concern, and I had to talk about it because it has become a problem that we actually need to look critically into. So on this World Environment Day, maybe I'm going ahead of you. We are talking about beat plastic pollution or end plastic pollution. Yeah. It's a challenge. It's how easy it is for us to end plastic pollution. We have plastic in different in different forms. There are different types of plastics based on their texture, based on their composition, so many based on their rigidity, how flexible so it has. And we have become so plastic. Even the frames of your glasses are all plastic.
All plastic.
So is that a category of plastic we're talking about? So we have them in our in different gadgets. We have them in different household equipment. Plastic came into use because they have a wide range of properties which make them usable in various industries. So, but what is the problem? If it becomes pollution, whatever it is that you keep for a period of time without use, abandoned in a particular place which is not the right place, of course it's pollution. So that's why we're here to talk about plastic pollution.
Okay, joining us just now is Mr. Frank, and like I earlier said, if you're just tuning in, we are on the program Caritas Connect live on TMR TV. Welcome, Mr. Frank.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so before you came, we were trying to understand what plastic pollution is all about. So now let's try to understand or trace the source of plastic pollutants. Where do most of these plastic pollutants in our communities come from?
All right, thank you so much for that wonderful question. We have different sources where you can have plastic pollution from. One of which we have from household waste. Household waste is one of the predominant areas where we have majority of the plastics. We also have from commercial areas where we have these plastics which is being sold in marketplaces. And of course we also have it also in our offices. Offices will find our plastics, and other areas will find plastics.
Alright, so we are living in the reality of plastic pollution. That is why at the global and the national level, there was a need to talk about, or for the theme to be beating plastic pollution. So from your various experiences, be it in schools, in organizations, or during field work in your communities, what does plastic pollution look like on the ground?
I think when we talk about beating plastic pollution, or rather we say this particular year we talk about ending plastic pollution. So plastic itself is not a problem. What makes it a problem is the uncontrollable amount we have on our environment. So when we talk about plastic pollution, we try as much as possible to make it try to make it in the context that we look at the amount of plastics which is on our environment, which we cannot control. That's what makes it the pollution part of it, because we know that this issue of plastic pollution has been as way back as 1950. Yes. So we are just experiencing it because of the uncontrollable amount we have in our environment that we cannot easily manage. That's why we are talking about the plastic pollution today.
Yeah, okay, let me come in. When we talk of this plastic pollution, I'll now move into the direction where agroecology is concerned. With Caritas, we talk more of agroecology regarding environmental protection. So if you look at plastic, for example, these plastic papers, I want to go into plastic papers. Yeah. Just imagine that you are a farmer and you are cultivating a piece of land that have been littered by plastic. One, there will not be a water flow, infiltration will not take place, which means that the crops that you are having, they will not fit very well from water. And the danger behind it is that for this plastic to decompose, it can take about 200 and something years. Then ask yourself, as a farmer that you are struggling to cultivate, and now those plastics are on the soil, it disturbs a lot. I remember one time when I was working in a garden behind my house, and they decided to use the behind space like a dustbin. It was really, really terrible for me. You cannot even till the soil. You have to send the machete on the soil. It's already
a very stiff because there is plastic. I have to struggle and struggle. That's only to work a small garden that I have to stress. Then I ask myself, just imagine other farmers, what are they going through? And not only the normal plastic paper, we have other like broken buckets and all the like. It takes a lot. So with all these, that's why even in terms of agriculture, agroecology in particular, Caritas is conscious to tell our farmers that please, let's know how we manage our plastic. And it doesn't mean the amount of volume. Some people will think that sometimes when it is much. No, for now, like those farmers that are going to synthetic fertilizer, we all know that when you want to create those chemicals that are from plastics, and you use it and just throw it in your farm, not knowing that as you are throwing it in your farm, like you're also causing more harm, because that same plastic you are throwing like that, it will cause harm to your crop and even to yourself. So those are some of the things that you see we always encourage, and no matter the amount, but let's see how some of these sources that we get into it, we manage it very well, because it's really dangerous. It's really dangerous. Yeah, and regarding some companies, in terms of money, that they do just pay taxes, because they have paid tax, they just do any kind of plastic and they dispose it. We see how the government also is taking a lot of action. We see that sometimes they will even move into some shops, some business sites, and they seize plastic and burn them. When they do this, you see, they say the government is bad, the government is wicked. No, it's because of they already know the impact of some of those plastic. You see, what we remember back then, our parents were not even eating things from plastic. For example, like corn fufu, when they make it, they'll use our normal plantain leaves and they'll wrap it. But now like this, you see people are tying things in plastic, and you tell them that if you eat corn fufu from plastic and the one that you're eating from plantain leaves is different and it tastes different. So there are some of the things I would encourage people that no, let's go agroecology way. Let's try to embrace our indigenous practices. I remember my mother used to tell me that in those days they used to tie even Maggi. They will put Maggi ball on some leaves and wrap and give you. They normally call it in Pidgin gongo leaf. That they will wrap it on those kind of leaf or plantain leaf and give you. But nowadays everything is wrapping. Which that is why you see a day like World Environment Day, we are coming in to say no to plastic pollution.
Okay, so thank you very much for that very explicit explanation. And from all indication, it seems like we are now in a world where we cannot live without plastic. And eventually we are going to try to understand what we can replace these plastics with. But before that, we know that there are silent threats due to this plastic pollution and other pollutions. So, Barrister, can you tell us some of the lesser known ways in which plastic affects the human health, like the biodiversity as well, or the soil?
Okay, thank you very much. It's no longer a secret that we are living with plastic pollution in our environments. And plastic negatively affects us in so many different ways. And one of the ways in which plastic affects us negatively is, first of all, it clogs our waterways. When you look at the level of the degree of flooding in our society today, it never used to be that way. And so when plastic is introduced into the environment and the accumulation is huge, it clogs waterways to the extent that we find ourselves living in our homes during the rainy season with water. And then, like one of the panelists also said, plastic is produced using fossil fuels. And most of the chemicals used in producing plastic are quite toxic. They are highly toxic. They are chemicals of concern. And so when we expose chemicals, when you dump your plastic carelessly and it is exposed to sun rays, the chemicals that are used in producing the plastic seep into the earth's surface. They get into our soil, they destroy the fertility of our soils, they get into our water sources and contaminate them. And so, by consuming water that is already contaminated, you are exposed to health hazards like cancer. People develop problems of fertility as a result of plastic pollution. You cannot agricultural problems because you cannot the soil is no longer fertile, and so agricultural production is low. Animals die because they consume micro or nanoparticles of plastic into their system, and that is very much a problem. And that is why on a day like this that we have come together to commemorate the World Environment Day, it's important for us to raise awareness because most people are not aware of the negative side of plastic. And when we talk about the negative side of plastic, we are looking at single-use plastics, for example. Those are the plastics that contaminate our environments very often. Because these are plastics that once you use them, you dispose of them. It is not the use that is the problem. It is the disposal that becomes a problem to both our environment, humans and animals. And so how do we fight against this? We need to also have the right mindset, because most people don't even understand the negative effects of this. There are very few people who know that plastics are produced using fossil fuels. So they need to understand this, know that chemicals that are used in producing plastics are highly toxic. They are chemicals of concern. That way they will also be cautious on how they dispose of their plastics.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So since it's from every indication there are alternatives to the one-time use plastics that we almost, or let me say, we cannot do without these days. What do you think can be a replacement for such plastics?
Okay. Yes, it's there are alternatives to single-use plastics, because since there is evidence that that single-use plastics pollute our environment the most, we need plastics that can be reused. That is the first thing. We need plastics that are reusable.
Yeah. For example, even like now, commonly you see everybody wants to get this water bottle, which when you drink, you go home, the next day you fill it back and you continue. Those are some of the way that you see some international organization where you go for international seminars, they always give you like souvenir. They say, no, once you have come, I remember when I traveled to Ghana, they gave us our water bottle and said, once you have come here, no to plastic. As you have it, you go to the filter, you fill. I stayed there for 3 weeks. I did not waste this single-use plastic. No, I have just one. Until now, I'm struggling to practice that. So like Barrister is talking, those are some of the ways that we can really use. I've really experienced that, and I really appreciate that, which I encourage other institutions and every other person to really see. It's not like people are using that because of health or they want to show off. You see somebody holding that water bottle, it's not that the person wants to show off. Sometimes because the person is conscious that, no, just imagine I want to be buying Supermore, I want to drink about 3 Supermore a day. Imagine a week. But if you are going to your office, you get one and you have your filter that you are just filling it from it. You speak well. Or imagine you are having a seminar and now you have to have at least 150 participants and you are hosting them for 1 week. Just imagine the number of plastic that you will now generate, of which when you provide a single-use water bottle, it will speak well. So that was a little contribution that I said, no, let me also share with our audience. Let them grab this and be inspired.
Exactly. Yeah. And that makes there's need for change in mindset. Definitely, because that's what the most difficult thing in all of this, Imagine you have an occasion, it's becoming like kind of bird. You, instead of giving people juice and water, you prefer to bring a water dispenser. Else you prefer to produce fruit juice so that they can use the paper cups, to take the juice. So people don't find it kind of, it's not what do you call it, fancy.
Yeah.
It's like that.
You make conto. Yeah, for pigeon also you make conto. You know, and spend.
Looking at all of those because we feel like you just want to use and throw, but we are trying to look at those ways that we can. Come on, a water dispenser is better. Yeah. I think that like our activity the other day, that's what I was proposing. I suggested that we should bring one. I had a limitation because we're not certain if there was going to be electricity or something. But I think it's good for our occasions. And what we think is even the problem is more economical.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes we feel that shifting to this. You remember the snacks we had were in paper bags. It was
I enjoyed that bag.
Thank you. At least
I put in my kitchen that I need to use this, and it
can you imagine? Thank you for that, Felicia, because some people were like, no, it's to this.
Why they don't put all that normal pack so they
why so it's so difficult to imagine, to believe that you can actually take something, take a new dimension for something that, because after that, even though some people just squeezed it and threw it there, but trust me, when water falls on that, it's going to actually degrade. I think it's not going to pose so much of a problem. It was deliberate. I was like, let's try this other thing and see how it's going to go.
Yeah, and I even came across somebody who has these paper napkins. You know them. There are some that are washable, reusable.
Ooh, wow.
I was thrilled when I found out he has them. After that, you can wash them. They get soaked, but they don't get back. So you dry them and you can use again.
Wow.
Yeah,
there was
And just-
also this aspect. Let me just come in, Barrister. Thank you. There is this aspect of reusable bags and containers. I want to come about reusable bags. For example, mostly us women that we go to the market and buy things. Let's practice a way that sometimes you have buy this your shopping bag. Try to see that when you are going next time to the market, go with it. Even if you are going to your office or you are going to your business site, just always have those bags. You know that every day you are going to the market, you need to buy at least 5 sasamoto every day. Every day you are going to the market, or every weekend you want to go to the market, you need to use 5. That's how you keep generating plastic. I was sharing this with my colleague Mr. Bellus, and he was like, Mafeli, do you know that in my home, when I want to buy in my quarter, I have my special bag, and when I go there, the only thing that they can tie is either fish or meat. I was like, please tell me more. I want to understand so that I can try it too. Because me, I'm somebody, when I hear something like that, I want to know deep. It was like, no, when I go there, something like Maggie, I just throw it. When I come, I make sure that, okay, even just a wrap. Yeah. They used to tie it in paper. I remember.
Yeah, they used to do that.
Yes. You see, those carton like that. I see that man that used to sell fish in the bike. I remember in our village, the person would just tear like that and wrap. But now everything is plastic.
Some of us are even the problem. Have you gone somewhere and they decide to serve you in paper? Now
it is.
Yes.
All those things like that.
Yes. I think yes. No, I just wanted to say that when Madame Linda gave us some troubles yesterday, I was impressed with the packaging.
Wow.
Because it's degradable, and that is what we have to encourage in society. People should go in for reusable and even degradable plastic packaging. Because when you go to most supermarkets or shops where you go and buy, what most of them have, they are single-use plastics. And that is why you see the 2012 law, you have a joint ministerial order of MINCOM and MINCOMERCE, which forbids the use of plastic packaging which is less than 60 microns.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, I think that is one of the only problem we are having with that law, which I think we raised at one point in time, was how do you determine whether this plastic packaging is equal to or above 60 microns?
Yeah.
That is another issue which requires expert knowledge to determine. But I think that going in for reusable plastics, refillable plastic bottles, it's quite important. Because even at the global level, when we attend UNEP conferences, like the ongoing treaty negotiation conference that is ongoing, you are made to understand that you have to come with your refillable bottle.
Yeah, like Coke.
Yes, nobody is going to give you any other thing.
Yeah.
You come with your refillable bottle. There are water dispensers all over the corner. Once your bottle is empty, you go and refill. And that is one of the ways that the United Nations Environment Program, that one of the strategies they've used to limit the environmental footprints of plastic pollution, which is very important.
So most of us are still guilty, plastic guilty. Because water, trying to be cautious, you are still guilty. Today they were asking, somebody was asking the question, what is that one plastic you cannot do without? As of now, come on, there's a plastic something. You think you cannot do with plastic? For me, I think that I can do without plastic water bottle for now. If we all decide to have water bottle, at least we cannot. But I sorted out that we cannot do without maybe granola oil, right? For now we are caught up in that trap. Maybe when we start going with our own bottles to be refilled, I think it's going to solve the problem. The plastic end, the way they said the end, you know when they say end, it's like out of the table fine now. It might not be now, might not be today. It's not just something of a is finished, maybe not even next week or next month. But what we are saying is that if each and every one of us becomes conscious enough, because I always say it every day, like I hate the blame game. You know, like,
of course.
That this my thesis on my master's thesis was on the role of key actors in the management of plastic waste.
Wow.
I was trying to identify who are those who can be concerned. We have consumers, we have producers, we have maybe the government through the other ministries, we have the SACAM, we have the councils. we have those who are really selling in the market. So if we bring up you who is a consumer, what if we bring all these stakeholders? What is your responsibility as a consumer to use and throw it into the gutters, throw it careless? Is it the government that came and threw the bottle that you drank water from? You who is selling, come on, they are making their money and their business. But what if there was a return back system, or there was a mechanism put in place where they could come back and give the bottle? Those people will gladly do it. You have a depot. What if you start putting like motivation, like if you bring back at least one pallet of empty bottles after an occasion, we can give. I think it's something I really want to go into such motivation. Now, what about if someone is there to collect what people have thrown now? What else should they do with it? Okay, what about the companies that produce? Yes, they produce, and their taxes. We have to be serious with each other. We have to be fair, even as individuals, as a government, as NGO. Let's be sincere with ourselves. So if the company say they pay tax because there's extended producer responsibility, what if their responsibility was to recuperate? If they was left to them and said, no, you people should put in place a mechanism to remove these plastics from what should there's something they should do. But if they say, Felisa, you said you sell maize and throw, and after that you were supposed to clean that place before selling maize. Now you say, no, I paid somebody to help me clean after every sale, and the person doesn't do what he or she is supposed to do. So at one point, it's like you are not just say that you're not doing it, but if really you're doing it, maybe they've not done it enough. It's true. So we think that this mechanism, and for those of you who have traveled, those who have traveled, they keep telling us, what I want is bring back what you have seen out there into your own country. Let's bring it here. Because some days I'm angry when people tell me when you travel, and so what about when you travel and go, you come back the following day as you do.
Yes, so because we when you look at the issue of plastic pollution, one of the things that we need to do is to adopt local solutions to our local problems. The levels of pollution are context specific.
Exactly.
When you go to Europe, for example, it's not like they don't have plastic problems or plastic pollution.
They do.
But the issue is that they have put in place systems that make it difficult for you to see the plastic littering the environment, which is different with what we have here. And so if we want to effectively fight against plastic pollution, let that fight begin from our homes.
Exactly.
Let it begin from our homes. How do we stop the blame game? How do we manage plastic in our homes? For example, in my house, all my children know. They know that if it's a plastic bottle, this is where you drop it. If it's a bottle, this is where you drop it. Plastic papers, this is where you drop it. And I have plastic bottles in bags in my residence. And so we are already make my children to understand that this is a problem. Yes, this is a problem. So if we use, say for example, we have we drink Supermont at home, we can use this bottle several times. We can use it several times for different purposes, which is very important. So we need to start with this at home. Because when you go to dump sites or to trash cans, you find a cocktail of waste. People carry household waste that could even be used as organic manure. And they go and dump in trash cans. People carry plastic, they just jumble up everything and they dump in trash cans. So we need a change of mindset on how we can manage waste starting from our homes before we move to the society. Because the family is a smaller unit. Yes, and from the home we can properly educate. Yes, we can properly educate our children to go out with the information.
Currently, you come to in my house, when you come behind my house, you yourself, you'll be amazed. I'm proud to say so because I'm someone that is very conscious. When I traveled to Ghana, I visited this place called Macintosh Center, and sincerely, people are making money out of plastic to reuse it. You see, the person gather all this plastic. He has machines. There are machines that chop up this plastic.
Into pellets.
Chop it up very well, and he had to make a chair, a fan. That's some kind of things that he's selling it. I was like, wow.
That's valorizing
I told
plastic.
Macintosh that please I will not live here without not learning something. He just asked me to go and get 2 liters. When I get 2 liters of plastic, he asked me that, okay, let me get the gum. And in the course of it, I don't know the magic that I struggle, and I had to produce something like a balm that I can put either my lipstick inside, and I close it. And so when you travel, you come out and Alicia, it's fair. When I came, I have to show my children too. I say I can do it like this. Before I noticed, the girls are in secondary school now. You know, when they go to school, sometimes because of those who want to oil their legs, all of them have to make it until they are putting small Vaseline inside. Then also, yes, and I have this one of my friend from David Kamara. Yeah, I'm sure it's David Kamara, either from Senegal, like that. That guy is using plastics to produce ties. I was like, wow. And when I came back, I'm in the agricultural sector regarding what we also do in Caritas. In my home, when we broke those broken buckets, I don't throw them. I use I nurse things. There was one time that I had to call the children in the quarter, and we all do it. We planted this vegetable. Then I take the animal dropping, like the chicken dropping. I apply the way that thing was fresh. Neighbors were like, wow. Only in this style like you are eating. I say, yes, go and do it.
Yes, they are using, if you go to the Cambe Council, I watch a documentary in which the Cambe Council, they use plastic bottles.
Yes.
For their to nurse for their nursery.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. And when you do it that way, you are taking a whole lot of plastic from circulation, from the environment, which is also very, very important. And giving you are in a way valorizing plastic, like what she just said, using the plastic to produce other valuables, which we can it keeps them away from the environment.
Instead of them getting there and staying there and causing trouble, keep them somewhere that can be beautiful, creative, making money or stuff. And that's what we're saying. So for us to end the plastic pollution, innovative solutions need to come in, creativity needs to come in, personal commitment to a what do you call it, a different
take your own action.
You need to you need to take this. We need to take practical decisions. We need to change our patterns. We need to change our mindset. We need to take it one step at a time, and of course we will get there.
Okay, thank you all. Like, it's been a rich discussion on the various possible local solutions and the methods in which we can recycle plastics in our various homes, in our various environments and institutions. So we can monetize, we can recycle by doing producing other valuable materials from them. And then I think all of us feel, talking about the blame game, all of us feel to understand that at a certain point in time, we are all consumers. You might be
we are all consumers.
You're making us more
You still have to
you still have to consume. And at the end of the day, many people will be like, okay, how does the person mean there is littering? You might be there thinking that, okay, no, I'm just producing, I'm not the one responsible for the disposal. But at the same time, somebody might dump a plastic in the ocean somewhere in Africa, but the fish is still in the same ocean.
Of course.
When it consumes it, we are going to consume the fish. You don't even know where all of the things come from. So
And
be a concern, and we are all supposed to participate.
And thank you very much for that, Alvin. If I may just come in very snappily, I just want to say that you have touched something that has to do with the transboundary effects of plastic pollution.
Yeah.
Yes, because when you drop a single plastic bottle in a stream or in a river here, you don't know where that plastic will end up. And that has to do with the transboundary effects of plastic pollution. And that is why you see there is also litigation at the global level on plastic that is dumped in one environment and its effects are felt in another environment. That's a very crucial element. Yes.
Thank you so much for that intervention. So we are almost getting caught up by time. But before we wrap up, we are going to there's always a reason why anything is done, and here present we have different people from different places, and we'd like to understand what motivated each of you, briefly, what motivated each of you to take up in this fight, to actively get involved into the fight against plastic pollution and having a better environment or a better earth for ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much for that pertinent question, Alvin. I just want to say that the environment is a natural heritage. The environment is a natural heritage. It's a gift from God. None of us produce the environment. And we have just one planet. What will happen to us if we sit and watch this planet damaged? I think as a human rights, an environmental and human rights activist, it's my responsibility. I felt that it's a responsibility for me to contribute my own quota in protecting the environment that we live in. Because without this environment, we are all gone. We are all gone. We interact with the environment, and the environment interacts with us in one way. And secondly, I was so moved this year because since 2022, the international community has come together to see how an international instrument can be adopted to fight against plastic pollution. And this started way back in March 2022 when the United Nations Environment Assembly adopted Resolution 514 mandating the director of the United Nations Environment Program to convene an intergovernmental negotiating committee that had as responsibility to adopt an international legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, including in the marine environment. Since the Resolution 514 in 2022, FEDEF has been actively present during those negotiation processes. The processes started in Uruguay, then moved to Paris. FEDEF participated online in Paris. From Paris, we went to Nairobi. FEDEF had a delegation that participated. From Nairobi, FEDEF was in Ottawa, Canada, and then we moved to South Korea, to Busan. And in August of this year, FEDEF will also have a delegation present in Geneva when the second session of the Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee will be taking place. And during this period, we expect a treaty, an instrument to be adopted by member states, which at the end of the day will be concluded during the plenipotentiary conference that will likely take place next year if an instrument is adopted. And so FEDEF has been actively involved in the fight against plastic pollution, and I think that it's enough motivation for me to have come all the way from Bamenda to take part in this year's activities.
That's very encouraging and inspiring as well. Mrs. Linda.
Thank you so much. The conversation has really been very entertaining. I've really been very happy with the level of engagement so far. I think for my own level of engagement, looking at it from the broader perspective that God created this world and He left it in the sole responsibility for us to take charge of this beautiful earth. So when we go out to the environment, we see how the environment is being degraded. Not only with plastic pollution, we have other environmental crises which are plaguing the environment. So I, for one person, I feel that it's an inborn responsibility, just like he spoke about of civil responsibility. We are supposed to take charge of our environment, to protect our environment. When you go to, we have carried out several campaigns, several cleanup campaigns, Limbe, Douala, Idzina, Isobe, several campaigns, all in a bid to curb this issue of plastic pollution. But if you look at it at one point in time, many people just look at it that plastic pollution is more like more political than what it is. But we'll keep doing what we think is necessary at our level. We'll keep doing what we think it is relevant at our level, to fight it at our level until we reach the point where our strengths can no longer take us. Then we'll say, no, we have done what we think it is relevant, or what we think we had to do to protect our earth. When we look at the direct and the indirect health impact of plastic pollution, is devastating. We go into communities, we see many communities, they are suffering with urgent poverty and they don't even know. You see women go to the farm struggling to cultivate their farm, but their farm is not productive. They spend so much money on fertilizer, spend so much money on irrigation system, but they have little or no agricultural output. So it is a whole point of concern to see how so much effort is put in place to alleviate poverty, but plastic pollution just does everything to just shamble all their hopes and everything. So I think it is a whole it's a whole deal why we need to keep on advocating for plastic pollution. We have to keep on sensitizing the population to understand what plastic pollution. I think this issue of plastic pollution has not really been well sensitized, but we'll keep doing the sensitization in interior, in the rural villages, so that everybody gets to know of the impact. The simple truth is that when you go into the villages, into those interiors, you see these women are actually the ones that they are facing the real issue of plastic pollution, because the health challenges that they go through. I try to carry out a cross-sectional survey, getting across the different level of people to find out their interaction with the environment. But I was baffled, because they keep experiencing respiratory issues. How many times they go to the hospital, how much they spend in the hospital, but they have little or no idea that it is their action, the plastic they have, the environment, the air, land and water, even the fishes that they go to the market and buy have been infected by some of this microplastic. Even their crops in their farm have uptaked some of this microplastic. So it is a big point of concern. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's very fortunate for us that we have people like you all on this panel, and the people out there who are striving struggling and advocating to ensure that our environment thrives. Madam Felicia, can we hear from you, please?
Yeah, personally, as a climate change advocate, the global crisis, climate change, and in this day we'll talk of World Environment Day, and we are mentioning about plastic. It's really a call for concern to myself. Mostly in the agricultural sector, we suffer a lot. And we call on everyone that it's time to take action. Like what Caritas is doing, we continue to educate our farmers, mostly our farmers, that please always learn to reuse. You go to our farmers compound now, you see most of them are using their broken bottles, are using their broken buckets and old tires to see how they can cultivate some vegetables, pepper, some kind of vegetable like water leaf and all the like. And this is because of what we ourselves, like extension officer or field workers, we do. At times I used to show them my picture that you see, this is me in my house, on my own home, I'm doing this, so practice it. So as we continue to inspire our farmers, continue to encourage themselves are seeing the benefit, so too in any other sector we encourage. This time around, Caritas will be moving to schools, and amazing result will come out from it. You see, children now will be going back home with this knowledge, training their parents that no, let's try to reuse. If we try to reuse and recycle, then all what we are complaining of will no more be again. It's not something of today, but let's just try a little. Do the little you can in your own little corner, and we'll all have a greater result.
Begins with one person. Okay, so talking about schools, you mentioned schools. So yesterday during the walk, which I was part of as a youth myself, to encourage the other youths, youths were present, but compared to the number of youths that are in Boya, this is like a school zone, a school environment. I was expecting to see like many youths, like and a very like an overflow of youths, because it's the environment, and it's not like we are on break right now. This is still school time, and there is normally meant to be a connection between the environment and the education, like basically with everything, if we are being honest. And after the walk, there was a session at the GTTC school there at my 17, where they planted trees and all the like. So how do you think we are doing enough in engaging schools, in engaging youths, in engaging communities, and what meaningful ways do you think we can use to actively involve the youths in a fight like this?
Wow, that's a very pertinent question. That's actually, it's supposed to be the focus of this discussion, youth involvement in environmental protection.
Yeah,
because the focus is left for the youth. The old people are going out of, they are facing out, so we are the ones to take up the challenge. And you're raising this concern at the time when I had this considering that we have a Department of Environmental Science, we have that of Geography and no botany and most of those. But environmental science especially is one of those I'm really concerned about. I was like, a day like the World Environment Day should be a day that involves all the students who are studying environmental science, from the undergraduate to the postgraduate levels. Sometimes the mobilization is not very effective at the I don't know if maybe I'm mistaken, maybe because I'm not on campus. I know there are other activities, like we've had seminars on campus with students, but I don't know if it's because they are reluctant or people are into business tech more than environmental tech or whatever. I don't know. I'm concerned about that myself. But just to say that we work at the Ministry of Environment, most often we work closely with the Environmental Science Student Association. Like Mr. Franklin here used to be the president of ESA, and so when he was there, we were working very closely for the mobilization of students to be part of such events. Unfortunately, sometimes there's a clash between these such activities and their school timetable, because it's now that most of them are writing their exams, their CA, or they're preparing for, and most often they will not show up like they're supposed to. So I don't know if it's a place of the ministry to help, not to intervene, so that the education, maybe those at the head can be able to see that maybe students in this department during this period, they can be released to partake, to participate. There are a lot of, I have a friend who studied in China. She left, one of my colleagues, she left for China. One of the time she sent me a picture during her presentation on World Environment Day. Is no joke. There is mobilization. There is an ongoing campaign. She told me last time, I think I registered late, an ongoing campaign that the links can be shared even to the university students. Partaking, they flew people from out of the country just to come for the event. Those who were active online on social media, who were participating maybe for the quiz or other slogans and maybe the advocacy online. At the end of the day, they saw those who were very engaging, and then they flew them over. She used to be shy, like Linda, you're the media person, but I saw her talking to it was the audience. It's not. I'm not talking about. It was a massive audience. She told me that people come from far out just for this event. That tells us how much they've been able to value the environment. I know that, except I'll be speaking on behalf of those people, but there were also stakeholders who would have mobilized better, but maybe because they had activities that were clashing. Because sometimes at the delegation we don't work independently. Sometimes we look at those civil society who already have activities, we take advantage, or we see how we can mobilize better to get such. Myself, I was really expecting, I knew what I was visualizing. But later on, people were like, no, madam, they're in school, they're writing the CAs and all of that. And those were the people that we wanted to make that the noise regarding this. Because in Moliko, I had a small one who was living in a municipality. I went to visit him in his room. Bottles were all over his bed, under his bed bottles like everywhere. If when the bed is full or under the bed is full, he would throw it in the parking lot, balcony, kitchen. So there's no way you can even package these plastic bottles and put them or reuse them or even fill them with water. Come on. And most of them consume a lot of plastic. Nobody wants to go and buy water. Nobody's like, let me go carry water. How? Jews, they consume like every day. Do they know how to dispose? Have you gone to mini cities in Moliko? Somebody's upstairs and you fling the bottle down. You throw the bottle from upstairs downstairs. You don't even know if somebody is living there. Can you imagine? So we're saying that youth actually need to be so involved in such movements, in such advocacy against plastic pollution. We are hoping that subsequently we'll look for a way to get them, talk more to the authorities and see how they can release the students and others to be part of such events.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Barrister, you're just going to give us very briefly a last call to action. Talk. We've had a lot of ideas, we've had a very rich discussion, but we are over time now, but we cannot just leave without leaving the people with something. So
okay, thank you very much. Very briefly, I just want to say that first, we need the right mindset. Second, we need to take appropriate action. If we do this, we are going to beat plastic pollution. As simple as that. Change of mindset. People need to understand that plastic pollution is not a slogan. It's a reality that all of us are experiencing. The negative effects are there. We get out of our beds with the negative effects, we go to bed with them. So we need the right mindset, and we need to take the right actions at the right time. And the right time is now. because there's no way we can postpone this fight against plastic pollution, because we are already, our environment is choking. It's choking as a result of plastic pollution. The too much accumulation of plastic into our environments. So with the right mindset, the right action now, we are going to succeed in this.
Thank you so much, Barrister. And on my part, I would like us to bear in mind that the environment does not need our pity, it needs our participation. We've damaged it a lot, and if we take up the time, if we take action now to heal it, it's going to heal us in return. We thank you all so much for coming. We had Mrs. Asabalinda Siri from the Regional Delegation of Environment. We had with us Mr. Njumbe Frank, an environmental consultant. We had with us Mrs. Motia Felicia from Caritas, and we had with us Barrister Achu Owen from FEDEF Cameroon. So we thank you so much, dear viewers, for staying with us right up to this moment. We thank the technical team, and what I would like to say to end this is that we should take action. God gave us the earth to take care of it, and it's a mandate, it is an order. So we should take up upon ourselves as a responsibility. See you on next episode of Caritas Connect. Till then, stay blessed.
See you.